Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking through some player props I like over on Prizepicks for the Week 9 NFL slate. We're going to give 3 plays that I'm liking for the Sunday slate of games, and as always guys, we're going to break down these plays and we're going to share why I like them, give some information, some analysis behind these plays. Now, before we do that, if you guys enjoy these Prizepicks videos, if they do help you out, make sure you hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button as well. And if you guys are new to the channel and if you are new to Prizepicks, if you don't have a Prizepicks account, make sure you go sign up. Use that promo code NOAH when you do sign up for Prizepicks with my promo code and play $5. You're going to get $50 worth of free lineups just for signing up and using code NOAH. And then also, we do have a partnership with Sleeper, so I do want to give a quick shout out to Sleeper. If you guys don't have an account over on Sleeper, you can download the Sleeper app, use promo code NOAH over there. You'll get your first deposit matched up to $100. You'll also get a free $20 entry. So this is a new promotion Sleeper's doing. It's available to all new users. You get a free $20 entry just for signing up, and you don't have to make a deposit to get that free entry. It's no deposit required. So this is going to be a way for you to try out the Sleeper app without even having to put any money in. And then if you win off that free entry, then that money that you win, I'm pretty sure is promo funds. You can use those promo funds to play more lineups. If you win off those lineups, that money becomes cash that you can then withdraw if you choose to do so. So highly recommend you guys check out Sleeper. Again, make sure to use that promo code NOAH when you do sign up. Get that deposit match, get that free entry, and see what Sleeper has to offer. But let's go ahead and talk about some Prizepicks plays here for this slate for Week 9, guys. We got 3 plays for Sunday. Let's go ahead and break them down. So the first prop that I'm liking for Sunday is going to be a targets prop. And we're going to go to the Chargers game, and I'm liking Quentin Johnston for more than 4.5 targets. Now, Quentin Johnston, I think we're getting a lower line on him because last week against the Vikings, it doesn't show in the game log, but in their last game against the Vikings, he did get 0 targets, which was very, very odd because if you look at Quentin Johnston this season, if you look at his game log, he has been pretty heavily targeted this year, especially early on in the season. First 5 games, 7 targets, 9 targets, 13 targets. The last few weeks, his volume has come down a little bit, 4 targets, 6 targets, but this is a player that has shown an ability to earn targets at a pretty high level. I know the Chargers went out and got Keenan Allen over the offseason, brought him back, but they have still been using Quentin Johnston as one of their top wide receivers. He's been a good volume earner in this offense. I know he had 0 targets last week. I think we could look at a few reasons why maybe he didn't get his targeted much last week. So for one, that game against the Vikings, Justin Herbert did not have a lot of pass attempts in that game, I believe. He only had like 25 pass attempts in that game. It was a game where the Chargers had a big lead. Now, sure, 25 pass attempts, you still expect Johnston to get at least a couple targets. Getting 0 targets on 25 attempts is still not good, but it wasn't like a game where Herbert had a ton of pass attempts. And then also, the matchup was pretty bad. I mean, you look at the Vikings this year, they've had one of the best pass defenses. The Vikings have given up the fewest receptions, fewest targets, and 3rd fewest receiving yards to opposing wide receivers. They've been a really tough team to throw on. So it's kind of not surprising that Johnston struggled a little bit more last week against Minnesota and didn't earn as many targets. Also, I think he was dealing with an injury. That was a short week for them. That was a Thursday night game, so he was playing on short rest, coming back. I think he had been dealing with like a hamstring injury. So there's a lot of reasons why it might have worked out where Johnston just didn't get as involved last week. But now he's completely off the injury report. Looks to be good to go for this week. He's had additional time to rest for this game. And I'm expecting Johnston to get back to his normal role, play his normal allotment of snaps. The matchup here against Tennessee should be a very favorable one. I mean, the Titans have had one of the worst defenses in the NFL this year. They're top 5 in receiving yards allowed to opposing wide receivers. Really good spot here for the Chargers to be able to move the ball down the field, put up points. The only thing I worry about is if the Chargers get like a really big lead, there's a chance that like in the second half, they just kind of run the ball a lot, kill the clock. Can Tennessee put up points and keep this game competitive? I guess that's kind of the big question. But Tennessee is playing at home. You expect them to play a little bit better at home. Hopefully they keep this game close enough to where the Chargers are forced to at least keep their foot on the gas pedal. Even if it's a game where Justin Herbert only has like 25 or 30 pass attempts, we could still see Quentin Johnston have 5 targets. I mean, 5 targets is not a lot for him. He's a guy that, again, has shown an ability to earn targets this season. I think you look at where the sites are projecting the other guys. Like they have Lad McConkey at 8 targets. They have Arondé Gatson at 7.5 targets. Like, he's really come on as of late. Gatson has, but 7.5 targets. I mean, honestly, I think that line feels a little bit high on Gatson. They have Keenan Allen at 6.5 targets. I feel like Quentin Johnston should be up there with those guys. Like, his line should be like 5.5 at least. I think right now on Underdog, his line is at 5.5. We're getting it at 4.5 on Prizepicks. So I think there's some good value here. I do like Quentin Johnston for more than 4.5 targets. Now, the next prop that I like is a fantasy score. And we're going to go to the Broncos game. And I like Bo Nix for more than 15.5 fantasy score. Now, Bo Nix is going to be facing the Texans this week at Houston. I think the reason we're getting a lower line on Bo Nix here is because if you look this season, the Texans are allowing the fewest fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Typically, we see Bo Nix projected around like 17.5, 18.5 fantasy score. 15.5 is definitely a low line for him. And I understand why, because again, like I said, you look at Houston this year, they're giving up the fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks. But you have to look a little bit more into it. If you look at the quarterbacks that Houston has faced Matthew Stafford, not a bad quarterback, but Matthew Stafford's never been like an elite fantasy quarterback. He's just a pocket passer. Baker Mayfield did put up 20 fantasy points against them. Then they faced Trevor Lawrence, Cam Ward, Cooper Rush, Sam Darnold, and Mac Jones. And Mac Jones had 19 fantasy points against them last week. Now, sure, Cooper Rush really struggled. Cam Ward really struggled, but those guys are not good NFL quarterbacks. I mean, Cam Ward's been terrible this year. Cooper Rush, when he was starting for Lamar, he was really bad. A lot of the quarterbacks that the Texans have faced this year have not been good fantasy quarterbacks. Bo Nix is probably by far the best quarterback they faced this season, the best fantasy quarterback. Bo Nix is a really good fantasy quarterback because they use him a lot in the red zone. He has rushing upside. He's a really good passer. Just a guy that has a lot of ways he can get fantasy points, and you can just see by his game log. I mean, he's been racking up a ton of fantasy points this season. Had almost 27 fantasy points against Cincinnati, 18 against the Eagles. Didn't do great against the Jets, but then he had a huge game against the Giants, had a big game last week against Dallas. Bo Nix has been really good this year, especially from a fantasy perspective. I think 15.5 fantasy points is definitely a little bit too low for Bo Nix. I could easily see Bo Nix throwing for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns here, which would be 16 fantasy points. And then that doesn't even account for the rushing potential that he could get, like the rushing stats he gets. He's a guy that can run. I think right now, Prizepicks has him projected a little bit over 20 rush yards. 21.5 rush yards. Like, he's mobile. He can run for 30, 40 yards any week. They use him as a runner near the red zone, or in the red zone near the goal line, so like he could get a rushing touchdown. He did have 2 rushing touchdowns against the Giants. He had 1 against Cincinnati. So just a guy that has a lot of ways he can get fantasy points. I know, again, Houston, you look at them this season, they've been a really tough matchup for quarterbacks, but I think a lot of that has been due to the quarterbacks they faced. I think Bo Nix is a quarterback that can definitely have success even against a team that, like Houston, that's been tough on quarterbacks. Also, this game's being played at Houston, so it's going to be played indoors, which is great. Indoor game environments are always going to be better for scoring just because you don't have to worry about weather, wind, anything like that. And especially this time of the year when it starts to get really cold outside, it's going to be a lot more comfortable for a quarterback to play indoors in a dome than it is if he was playing outside in the cold, potentially with weather, with rain, stuff like that. Like, it's just always better for guys to be playing indoors. It's going to be more comfortable for them. So I do like this spot for Bo Nix. I like him for more than 15.5 fantasy score. Now, the last play that we're going to take is going to be on Ashton Jeanty, another fantasy score prop. I like Ashton Jeanty for more than 13.5 fantasy score. Now, Ashton Jeanty has had like an up and down season. He's had some good games. He's had some really bad games. But a lot of his really bad games this year have been games that have just been pure blowouts. He was bad last week against the Chiefs, but that was a game that they lost 0-31. He was bad against against Washington. That was a game they lost 24-41. Like, a lot of his games this year where he has struggled have just been blowouts. The games that have been competitive, Jeanty has played pretty well. Their first game of the season against the Patriots was a competitive game. They won that game 20-13. Jeanty had 19 carries for 38 yards, so he wasn't very effective, but he got a ton of volume, did score a touchdown, also had 2 catches in that game as well. I mean, he's gotten, in their 2 wins this season, Jeanty has 21 touches and 25 touches. In the one game they lost against the Bears, that was a close game, they lost by 1 point. In that game, Jeanty had 23 touches. He's a guy that gets a ton of volume when it's a competitive game script. Now, the Raiders are a really bad team. Like, they've lost a lot of games this year. They've got blown out a lot. But they're playing at home this week against the Jaguars. It's a 2.5-point spread. So this is a game that projects to be competitive. And I think in competitive games, we're going to see Ashton Jeanty get close to 20 touches, if not over 20 touches. He doesn't really have much competition behind him. The guy that's going to be backing him up is Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert, at this point in his career, I mean, he's like, 32, 33 years old, something like that. Raheem Mostert just not a guy that they really want to give a ton of volume to. So I think we can project G&T for close to 20 touches here. He's a guy that they'll use in the passing game as well, so he has upside to catch passes, which for Prizepicks fantasy score, getting receptions, obviously huge because it's PPR, so you get a full point per reception. G&T's had games where he's caught 4 or 5 balls, like recently against the Colts, he had 7 targets, 5 catches in that game. He had 4 targets against Tennessee. Like, they'll throw the ball to G&T a couple times. I think he's favored in this game he's favored for 2.5 receptions. So, if he gets 3 receptions, I mean, that's 3 points alone, not including what he gets from yards as well. And then obviously if they get in goal line situations, G&T's the guy you expect to be getting the goal line carries. So he's just got a lot of ways he can get fancy points. I think the matchup here against the Jaguars is a fine one. The Jaguars have been like middle of the pack this season when it comes to fantasy points allowed to opposing running backs. It's a game that projects to be competitive. I think those are the type of games we really want to target Ashton G&T in, and this is a spot that I think does set up well for him. So I do like Ashton G&T for more than 13.5 fantasy scores. So we're going to roll with these 3 plays, guys, for the Week 9 NFL Sunday slate. These are going to be for the Sunday games. I've been covering the primetime games pretty much every week, but I still do try and make videos for the Sunday games as well. We'll have primetime football. We'll have Monday Night Football. I'll be making a video for that. That'll probably get posted late Sunday night. Be on the lookout for that video as well. And then during the week, we're going to be posting NBA content, doing college football on Saturdays as well. So still, a ton of content coming out on the channel. I know it's a busy time of the year. There's so much going on right now with NBA, with NFL, with college football. You got MLB wrapping up tonight with Game 7 of the World Series. Big active time of the year for sports, but I love it. I love to be doing content. I want to try and make videos every single day if I can. That's kind of the schedule that I'm on right now, and I want to keep doing that schedule where I'm posting pretty much every day. So make sure you guys are subscribed if you're not subscribed to the channel yet. If you guys enjoy these videos as well, just hit that like button down below for me, and be sure to go support the sponsors, Prizepicks, Sleeper. Go sign up. Use that promo code NOAH when you sign up for Prizepicks. Get $50 worth of free lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. And then sign up for Sleeper. Use code NOAH. Get that deposit bonus up to $100. Also get that free $20 entry when you download the Sleeper app. But good luck this week, guys. Let's make some money on this slate, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.